Hi. I did not think, let me turn the car off. I did not think my first YouTube video would be me being in a car, sitting in the parking lot at church on a Wednesday night when I'm supposed to be in church on a Wednesday night. So my bad. But I really had to get something off my chest. I'm so excited because this is so strange. I've been wanting to start a YouTube video for a long period of time, periodically time, and you know, it's happening. So this is crazy. But let me tell y'all what just happened. So I guess our first YouTube video is gonna be a story video. I'm so excited. I hope y'all are excited too. Okay, so all right. No, so me and my brother, right? I have a younger brother, and he's like, we're 5 years apart, okay? So we're sitting in the car, and apparently, like, these last few days of him being at work or school, whatever it is he's doing, they've been having, like, sex ed classes. And so he would be talking about how he would be in sex ed, and they would ask questions, and he would know more about the stuff. Like, he would know all the answers to the questions, to the point where the people in the class thought that he had sex. And they'd be asking him, like, Jonathan, you had sex already? And it's just like, he knew a lot about it. So I guess they keep having these conversations very often, and he hasn't had sex before, but he just knew, because he talked to me a lot, and he has friends. They kind of talk about things. And so I guess his conversations with his friends weren't really the type where they just telling each other BS types of, like, sex hacks. Like, oh, if she jump up and down after she has sex, then she could probably stop herself from being pregnant. And, like, it's not that type of conversation. So he knew stuff, and he was answering the questions rightly. I don't think rightly a word, but whatever. So he gets in the car, and he's talking about work and everything. And then he asked my mom, what would you do if I had sex? So I'm saying like, what would you do? And so she was pretty much just like, what did she say? She said, I would throw you in front of the altar. And I was just like, oh, really? Like, that's it? But then, like, we were just like, nah, for real. Like, what would you do? She was like, I am for real. And I'm just like, no. Like, seriously, what would you do? She was like, and she didn't really give an answer. Like, she gave an answer, but I don't really remember what it was. It was just something simple, like, well, I would have to ask you, like, what you did. She said something, but she ended up saying something like, I guess because they were, like, pretending like they were having a mock conversation. And so she would say something and he would say something back, right? So they were going back and forth, acting like they had, like, he actually had sex, and they're having a conversation about it. So he told her something, and she was just like, oh, well, I would have thought that you were smarter than that. I don't think you're a dumb person. And she kind of went off on that kind of route. And I was like, I understand parents that don't want their kids to have sex, but you shouldn't really take it there. Because if they're trying to talk to you about sex, and especially, like, from my point of view, because, you know, me and my brother were raised to not have sex before marriage. Like, we're not really trying to have that conversation with you anyway. So the fact that we're gonna have this conversation with you, it doesn't really turn us on to want to have more conversation with you about it, or be open to you about our relationships or our sex life in general. If you're just gonna put us down and say, oh, I thought you would have been smarter than that, and woo woo. Like, not all kids need that. Or especially kids, since kids getting younger and younger when they're doing these things. And so if you're going to have a conversation with somebody and they're already nervous and they already know that they're doing something that you think that they shouldn't be doing, then they're not really going to want to talk to you. So them even bringing it up to you is something that's like, I'm going to take a risk. And so we take this risk, and then you get, like, it gets thrown in your face, like, oh, and it kind of acts like you're stupid, or like you're too young for this, or you're too this, or you're too that. And it's like, that really discourages people from talking to their parents about it. And then my dad got in the car, and we asked him, he just got all bent out of shape, like, you know what God thinks about that, and y'all trying to do grown folk stuff, and woo woo. But we asked him what he would do, and he said he would talk to the girl's mom. He would call the girl's parents. And I'm thinking, like, Why? Like, I didn't want to say nothing at first, so I just asked why. He was like, because I would do it. So he really wasn't giving any direct answers, but then he started saying, because they need to know. And then he started saying that you shouldn't be having sex, and you doing something that's wrong, you want to act grown, and you did it already, so what is there else for me to say? And so back to my initial thought, I'm like, your kid just had sex with somebody, and the first thing you want to know is like what that girl would think, like, about that girl's parents. Like, this is your child just had sex. If that girl has an STD, your child probably has that STD. But instead of talking to your child about all those precautions and all those things to keep them safe, you know, prior to going and talking to everybody else in the world about what just happened, you're gonna go and try to talk to the girl's parents. And that's why I'm thinking, like, I wonder if he would have said the same thing to me. And to be honest, I don't think he would. I think that he would have gotten real upset and tried to like block the nigga number from my phone and did all that stuff. I think that he would have did that. So I think that there's some like sexism involved in his answer, and how that women are encouraged to preserve their virginity, whereas guys aren't. And even when you have a parent that promotes abstinence for their children, they don't really promote abstinence for their children in the same way they promote abstinence for the girl as they would the guy. Because I know that like in certain relationships I would be in, like if I would want to be around a certain guy and I didn't want to go to church that day, my dad would say okay. But if my brother wanted to do the same thing, he would kind of just do one of those be a man type things. And it's like, why does he have to be pressured into being around people he don't want to be around? And I can be okay and I can have that safe space for myself. But when it comes down to having sex, I feel like I would be penalized greatly for having sex where for my brother, the first thing my dad would do would go and talk to the girl's parents. And so I just don't think that that's really like, I don't think that's right. But it's my parents' views and I respect their views, and I wasn't really trying to get them to change their views, but I just thought that maybe you might want to, like, there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know, come back to me later. You know, like, you don't necessarily have to give an answer right now, because it might not be the answer you want, and the answer you given right now might be offensive. And even though that this is like a scenario we're talking about, when it actually does happen, based off of this conversation tells you whether I'm gonna actually tell you what I'm doing or not. Like, am I gonna get your support, or are you gonna put me down? And so for my brother, I kind of feel like if I was him, I wouldn't tell my parents not a thing, because they were just kind of being really hostile about it, and they weren't really trying to talk to him or give him what I thought that he needed. They were really trying to push this abstinence thing. But I'm like, if you're having sex already, then telling somebody that they should be abstinent not really about to stop them from having sex. And if you already had sex, then there are already risks that you just took. So like, what you gonna do about that? Like, they weren't even really trying to talk about that. They were just talking about sex is wrong, you're not supposed to do it until you're married, and y'all trying to act grown. But it's like, okay, it happened already, so now what? You know, you're so busy talking about the girl and she needing to be a virgin, and y'all acting grown, that you're not even dealing with the situation at hand. But you think there's no situation at hand anymore because it already happened. There's nothing else for you to do. But there is. You can talk to your kid about what they're doing. You can make them feel comfortable with talking to you about it. You can express your views, but do it in a way where they're not going to want to stop talking to you about what they're doing, where they can learn from you, you know, and they can trust you, and they can go to you about things. And they'll probably go to you about things before they get into situations like that, you know. Like, if you haven't had this conversation with your child before they've had sex, then after they had sex, it's a little late. But maybe they weren't really telling you that they were thinking about having sex because of what they thought your response was going to be. And so for my brother, whether he's had sex or not right now, it's like, I know that if he were to have sex, he wouldn't tell my parents that he was thinking about having sex with that girl, because he just feels like he would not get their support, and that they would really just put him down. So I think that when you look at adults and their relationship with their children, and when their children are young, and in this day and age, it's good to kind of be sensitive to those conversations, because that's not something you want to play with. And just because you're being serious and you have these strict views that could be based off of religion, or just basically how you grew up, you have to be careful with how you talk to your children, because that can end up being your child's life. Like, they could end up getting an STD that lasts their whole life. They could end up getting somebody pregnant, you know, and you don't want that. So That's just my thoughts on the situation that just happened right now. And the reason why I'm in the car, let me tell y'all. So we're in this car having a conversation, and so we dropped my mama off and my brother got out, and so I'm parking, you know, I'm in the driver's seat, so I'm parking, and my dad's still kind of just talking about it, but he's a little riled up. Like, he's just kind of irritated with the fact that he just felt like we threw him off guard by asking him this question on the spot. And I'm like, yeah, but you could have just said you don't know and left it at you don't know, rather than just trying to quickly answer a question. So that's another thing. If you don't know something, say you don't know, or don't say anything at all. But don't just say something, because it might come out the wrong way. People might take it the wrong way, and it's going to be hard to kind of backtrack that conversation. So yeah. But yeah, so we came and we parked, and he was kind of having this conversation, and he just kind of riled up and had like all this negative energy that I just didn't like. So he was like, you coming inside? And I was like, yeah. And I'm still in the car, because I just didn't want to go inside with him, because he just kind of really like made me a little upset, and I just didn't feel comfortable being like in that kind of environment. So I decided, I was like, let me make a YouTube video. I wonder if I can make a YouTube video from my phone. I wonder if there's an app. So I Googled an app. So I'm recording this on the app, and I might edit it on the app. And yeah, and then I'm gonna upload it, and then hopefully people can see it. And if nobody sees it, then it's okay, because, you know, at least I did it. At least I reached a goal. Well, I actually never had this as a goal that I wrote down, because I just thought that it was just so far out that I was just not, it just wasn't gonna happen. But it's happening, and if I get this up, then that would be a really good thing, and y'all should really congratulate me and encourage me to do more videos, because it's something I want to been doing. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So yeah, okay, that's it. So I'll see y'all later. Bye.